Tennessee Life is sponsored by
Mid-South Sewing is an authorized brother dealer and repairs all brands of machines. Mid-South Sewing, known for their many fabrics, classes, and individual instructions. Classes on sewing and embroidery machines, software, sergers, and quilting. Mid-South Sewing, Knoxville and Murfreesboro.
Tennessee Life is also brought to you by Next to New, an upscale consignment shop serving Knoxville. nexttonewknox.com. And by The Flower Pot, for over 100 years, offering flowers and same-day delivery with 2 convenient Knoxville locations. knoxvilleflowerpot.com. And by viewers like you. Thank you. Coming up on this edition of Tennessee Life, how a visit to another city nearly 3 decades ago laid the groundwork for the Smoky Mountain celebration we know as Winterfest.
The lights are certainly how it all began, and that symbol of the snowflake, but you'll see so much more than that now.
Another traditional symbol of the holiday season is the poinsettia. We found a man in Greenback who grows more than 100,000 of them, from classic red to more unusual varieties.
You know, people really get excited over poinsettias because it's, it's in and out one time a year, and it's not like they see it every day all year. And, when they're it, they're it.
How about giving a handmade gift this year from a simpler time? This Dandridge woman is keeping an Appalachian tradition alive by showing others how to make old-fashioned handmade rag dolls. No sewing required.
We take old flour sacks and feed sacks and bedspreads and quilts even, and burlap sacks, you name it, we make dolls with it.
Those stories next on Tennessee Life.
Thanks for joining us for this special holiday edition of Tennessee Life. I'm Vicki Lawson. Since 1989, 3 Tennessee communities have come together to celebrate an entire season in a most festive way. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Sevierville all turn their streets into glittering wonderlands with more than 15 million lights. We learn more about the history, family fun, and traditions of Smoky Mountain Winterfest.
When you consider the 25-mile stretch along the parkway throughout Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Sevierville, we're talking about over 15 million lights. Smoky Mountain Winterfest is a 4-month-long celebration of the winter season. And while, the lights really have become an important part of it, and a lot of folks feel it's more of a holiday celebration, it stretches all the way through the end of February. And it involves enchanting light displays, the shows, the theaters, the memory makers, those holiday traditions. A lot of families are enjoying the 12 days of Christmas along the parkway in Pigeon Forge, or they're spending time out walking and seeing carolers along the streets in Gatlinburg. Not just one thing, but it's really about the experience as a whole. In the Smoky Mountain area, we're very blessed to have 3 wonderful cities, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Sevierville. They each have their own identity, and they each have their own tremendous experience for visitors when they come here. Winterfest has really done a tremendous job of bringing the 3 cities together, and being a cooperative effort, we never want to do away with those special identities that the 3 cities have, but working together is often a great thing, and working together produces results in this case. I grew up in Gatlinburg. My family ran a restaurant, and I certainly remember those winter months being a very quiet time. Obviously, the need for a winter program or a winter draw was very significant for our cities.
As I was driving here, I remember those days and thinking about it was so slow on our parkway, we put our traffic lights on blink. And, people laugh when I say that, but it was the truth. There just wasn't enough traffic on the parkway to require us to have our traffic lights working. And I joke all the time that at that time we could say go out on the parkway and shoot a shotgun in any direction and not worry about hitting anybody. There was just nobody in town. So it's totally changed now. What was an off season is now a major shoulder season for not just Pigeon Forge, but for Gatlinburg and Sevierville and all of Sevier County.
In the mid to late 80s, I know Dollywood primarily was the catalyst for the idea of Smoky Mountain Winterfest. They actually got together with the 3 cities and the county and put representatives from those cities and the county on a plane and took them to a place called Wheeling, West Virginia, where a winter lighting program had just begun. And those city leaders and Dollywood executives got to see firsthand what a lot of lights in a concentrated area would do for tourism. I'm told as they flew into Wheeling, West Virginia, and they planned it so they could do that in the evening hours, the line of cars that were waiting to see the lights in that city perked up the ears of our city leaders. It really drove the idea home.
The trip gave people the emphasis to say, if Wheeling, West Virginia can do this, if we put the 3 cities together, we can do a bang-out job with that. And then, of course, having Dollywood for them to agree to extend their season, that just sort of cemented the whole thing for us.
Once those first seeds were planted by going to Wheeling, West Virginia, and really getting everyone on board, we kicked off our first Winterfest here in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville in 1989.
The city of Pigeon Forge bought 92 6-foot snowflakes to put on our lights in the median, and we were thrilled the first time to see 92 snowflakes, and now the city of Pigeon Forge puts up 5 million winter lights. We have warehouses, we have people that work on winter lights year-round. We spend about $150,000 a year with bringing new scenes on and maintenance and all those kind of things. So it's part of what we do now.
The backdrop and the beauty of the Smoky Mountains, I think, is one of the key points to Winterfest. Whether you like to be outdoors and adventure is more your cup of tea, of course, Ober-Gatlinburg with snow tubing and skiing, ice skating. If you prefer cozy up and be indoors, of course, the theaters put on outstanding productions throughout town, world-class award-winning production. You really can't say that Winterfest is about one thing. It's about so much. There's so many things to do. We have a lot of opportunity for free events. Actually, special events throughout the 3 cities take place. Gatlinburg puts on an outstanding Fantasy of Lights Christmas parade the first weekend in December. Sevierville does a tremendous job with their Christmas parade as well. We have the New Year's Eve ball drop in Gatlinburg, essentially a family-friendly street party. The list goes on, but certainly a great deal of opportunities to not only visit the attractions that you hear a lot of, but also just to spend time with your family, no matter your budget. Really, the impact of Winterfest, I think that's certainly the biggest, most important aspect that we all here recognize is that unemployment rates prior to Winterfest were at about 15%, and currently we're looking up the upwards of 4%. And so that effect in itself, the fact that we're able to keep folks working through those winter months and families thriving, that's the most important aspect of Smoky Mountain Winterfest and how far we've come. Just to kind of get a grasp on things, prior to Winterfest, during the months of November through February, you maybe only had about 20% of our lodging units occupied during those winter months. And now you're seeing more than 65% occupancy rates. So I think that certainly speaks for itself. With our restaurants, you see the same trend. Right around 18 million in restaurant sales prior to Winterfest, and currently we're seeing upwards of 40 million. The success of Winterfest has gotten a lot of attention, and a lot of folks are asking, how can we do the same thing? You know, why has it worked so well for you all? And I think my answer to that question would be the cooperation. You know, the 3 cities really involving the tourism partners and the businesses throughout the community. While we're grateful for the success, how can we continue the growth and the improvements?
It would not have been as successful as it has been if the 3 cities in the county had not all agreed to do that collectively. Everybody saw that as an opportunity to work together, to take something and make it a good season for us.
Later on Tennessee Life, sit down with this woman at a table full of scraps, and she'll show you how to make a toy that'll delight any child. And next, how to make your poinsettia last well beyond the holidays. We have some advice from Pope's Plant Farm.
Another site that'll put you in the holiday spirit is more natural, the poinsettia. One man in Greenback, Tennessee grows more than 100,000 of them every year. We made a trip to Pope's Plant Farm to learn more about his family business, now in its 3rd generation.
Ever since I remember, we've grown poinsettias. This is the biggest poinsettia crop I think we've ever had, and I'd say approximately 150,000 pots of poinsettias here. It's every bit of 7 acres of poinsettias right here, and we're probably a little fuller than we should be. And usually when I'm walking through here looking, I'm not looking at the good one, I'm looking for a problem. And people, they just love that about me around here, you know. That's my job. I'm Mike Pope, one of the owners of Pope's Plant Farm in Greenback, Tennessee. We've been in Greenback for about 15 years. Been in Tennessee since about the mid-70s. My parents started it, and I've been doing it. I started, I guess, at about 15, working out there, just pulling a lot of weeds and just anything like that. We were primarily in the vegetable business. I guess it just kind of gradually changed over the years, and I don't remember the year, but we quit doing bunch plants altogether and went all to vegetables and flowers, all in packs and hanging baskets. We built these buildings ourselves, you know, so as we've slowly built them, you learn, you adjust to the increase in volume. This is a family business. Started that way, it still is today. My son graduated college. He now runs the Maryville facility.
In the early 70s, my grandfather, Bubba Pope, started working up in this area some and eventually moved up here and went into business for himself and started a retail place, and you know, it just kind of went on from there. Then my dad, Mike Pope, you know, started working here and eventually took over. My mom used to stroll me around and we would roll up the curtains on the greenhouses at night. You know, I just remember different little stuff about being in the greenhouses there. I definitely remember the busyness and all the poinsettias. It's a big part of my life, you know, a huge part. Just a family business in general, not only the work side of it, but just, you know, wanting to do good, wanting to be successful and keep the business successful. You know, everybody I know knows me as the plant guy, or I guess the plant man usually is what they'll call me, you know.
New people, when they come in, it's usually pretty like shock, you know. People just don't think about where they come from. People that come in, they'll come over the hill and look down and, wow, I didn't know this was here. Or it's not something you see every day. You know, the first one you walk into is 4 acres under one roof, so, you know, it's pretty good size, and it's impressive. There are many, many poinsettia varieties: bright red, dark red, scarlet. We like to say red, that way, you know, we can ship what we like to ship what we got that looks the best. But traditionally, red's been the best seller. We sell a lot of red. We grow a lot of ice punch, which is a red and white bicolor bloom, and that has been really good to us. We sell a lot of them. We continue to grow them today. The other colors are white, pink, marble. We tried a new one this year called Jingle Bell Rock. People are talking about it. It seems like maybe the name is what they're talking about. We'll see. To bloom or to turn color, they need exactly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness to initiate the bloom, which gives you the color that, you know, that it's going to be. And after that point, if there's a street light or even cars driving up and down the highway, if they're getting those headlights, they will not bloom, or they will bloom later than the market that you can sell them in. They need to stay warm. They don't like to get too hot. Actually, a little cool will be nice. On a pretty day, you can set them on your outside on your deck or something, and they would like that. No frost. Don't forget to leave them outside. They won't be there. Be sure not to water it again till it's light when you pick it up. But even if it wilts a little bit, that's not going to hurt it. But if you water it every day, it's not going to last a week, 2 weeks tops. So when you water it, you know, put 6 or 8 ounces on that poinsettia and let it sit there and feel how heavy it is. You know, it'll have some weight to it if it's watered. And if you go in there and it doesn't need water and you put water on it again, then the roots don't get any oxygen. And, you know, it's just like us. No oxygen, they just suffocate. You got to keep happy roots. You need happy roots. People in Las Vegas are gambling. We'll put probably $2 million in the crops this fall, and it's all dependent on the weather or not, how we do, how much we sell. And if it rains every Saturday, it's not pretty at the end. You'll see all these poinsettias, and I'll say, wow, these are great. Well, the happiest I'll be when I come in here and you see nothing but black tops. It means they're all gone. After December the 25th, the poinsettia the stock market has fallen, as we say. You know, they're just not worth anything after Christmas. It's a Christmas flower. Tennessee, we go to Nashville with poinsettias primarily. We ship the ice punch, we'll go all the way to Memphis. It'll go to Memphis, Jackson, Mississippi, Atlanta, up to Richmond, Virginia, all the way to Virginia Beach. We also ship to pretty much all the Krogers from Nashville to Knoxville.
I don't know if people even know that they're getting a Tennessee grown, but I think when they find that out, they like that. And it means a lot when people know that and they choose to pick our poinsettia. It's good to know that people want to buy our product. It's nice, it's really good to have that, you know, there's all this build up and you've put a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of stress for some people.
I hope they enjoy it and take it home, that everybody enjoys it, and it's part of their, you know, holidays, and, you know, makes them happy and enjoy. You know, people enjoy gardening, and, you know, it's the big thing about it. And you hear people talk about what they do and all that stuff, and that makes you feel good to know that you're part of that. And, you know, people really get excited over poinsettias because it's, you know, it's in and out one time a year, and it's not like they see it every day all year. And, you know, when they're it, they're it. It's really the only thing going right then. So yeah, it makes you feel good. I enjoy doing it. I can't imagine not growing them.
With today's technology, the toys kids want can do just about anything. But there was a time when most toys were simple, handmade, and rooted in Appalachian tradition. Sheila Calhoun has been taking old rags and making them into beautiful dolls for 30 years with no sewing. She shares her passion for passing on this piece of Tennessee culture.
And then I'm just going to rip out my little rectangle. So this is going to make her body. I do see this as more than just a doll. I found a heritage that had been lost. We just take a little string here and tie that around her neck, and this will make a head. I enjoy sharing this tradition with other people. It means a lot to me to be able to spread my fabrics out on the table and see the people come up and think, I can't do this. I get that a lot. I'm not a crafter. I don't sew. And so I have fun telling them, you don't have to sew. You don't have to know anything. Just let's do it together and we'll make a doll. And we do. I was born in Knoxville. I lived in the city. And my father was transferred to Miami, Florida, where it didn't suit me very well. I wanted to come back home. I loved the mountains. When I graduated high school, I came back home. And that's where I met my husband, and we moved to Sevierville. We were young and we didn't have a whole lot, so we had some yard sales. And what I was finding with those sales is that a lot of people were asking me, do you have any quilts? Do you have any old canning jars, old linens? One thing I thought that I could do is maybe buy some quilts and sell those. I would meet these people and look at their quilts and the things that they had to sell, and they would share their story with me, and I would learn a lot from them. There's one lady in particular I'm thinking of who was in her 80s back then. She showed me some dolls and some things that she had made, and it piqued my interest, and so I wanted to learn how to do those things. And so I started with a little church doll, just a plain, simple little rag that you fashion into a doll. And I thought we can improve on that a little bit. And put a little apron on her, and then thought, well, she needs some hair or a scarf, and so we put that on her. That's how I started with the doll making. Snip that off. And now we'll adjust this to be a cape on her shoulders. And you have a little rag doll. We take old flour sacks and feed sacks and bedspreads and quilts even, and burlap sacks, you name it, we make dolls with it. It's a lot of fun. What I learned from these people was not only how to make a doll, but how to work with your hands and work with what you have and take a pile of rags and make something out of it. If you have a granddaughter or a child who wants a toy and you don't have one, you can make one. And that's the way people did things back then. They couldn't go to the store and just buy a doll. When they wanted to buy a doll to satisfy their child, they would make it. The name of my doll is a true rag doll, and I call her that because she is a true rag doll. She's similar to antique dolls made from scraps. There's no cutting, no sewing, and no pattern. We snip and rip and tie knots, and that's all there is to her. She's been with me for over 30 years now, and she sells very well. She sells as good today as she did back in the 80s. I enjoy spending time doll making with my daughters. My daughter Joy is 7 now, and my daughter Hannah is 22, and they enjoy making dolls with Mom, and they enjoy helping me to make dolls with other people. Over the years, I have sold to a lot of different gift shops and set up at a lot of events to do the doll making hands-on. Some people ask me about the way that I'm dressed. These are my everyday clothes, and some people say I look like my rag dolls, but I enjoy dressing modestly and a more simple life. We are seeing a lot more of the older traditions coming back, and I think people are understanding the importance of that now, and they are trying to eat more healthy and growing their own foods, and they're enjoying learning about crafting and making do with what they have. In this day and age when we have a lot of electronics and a lot of gadgets, children have toys that do just about everything. It's fun to watch the expressions on the children's faces when they learn how to make these dolls. They are so used to these electronics and things that they have these days that this is all new to them.
Is that fun?
We share old-fashioned toys that can be as simple as a button on a string, where you just take a simple string. I like to use yo-yo strings because they're strong, and a large wooden button. Then you tighten a knot and just pull on it, and it makes a wonderful buzzing sound, and it's a great stress reliever too. We also have hand flyers, or some people call them hand propellers. But it's just a propeller on a stick, and you take it between your hands and you just push off and it flies. It's wonderful. We also have a stick toy, and you just go into the woods and you find a stick, and I like to get the ones that have a little handle so it has a bend in the branch. And you carve notches into it, and you take another stick and go across that, and you put a little propeller at the end, and when you do that, it spins the propeller. And it's a wonderful toy, and it's a lot of fun. Another thing that we make is wooden spoon dolls, and we take a wooden spoon like you would use in your kitchen to stir with, and we dress those dolls. And what I like to do is similar to what people used to do with paper dolls, in that you just have different ready-made articles of clothing that you can just put right on the spoon doll, and you can change it out. And it makes it easier for little children to do it. Many people celebrate their holidays in various ways, and I would hope that those who do give gifts to each other at this time of year would give each other gifts that are more meaningful and handmade items. And I would like to think that I have helped someone learn to make a doll, and they were able to give that gift to others. And even more than that, that they could share how they learned to make that doll, and so that it could just keep going on and on.
Right here on the sides, and flip her over.
I love
and
Tennessee.
We're going to fold this.
It's my home, and it's where I want to be, and I love the heritage that we have here, and I love sharing the traditions of Southern Appalachia. The dolls have been a part of my life, and now they're a part of me.
We hope you've enjoyed the stories we've brought you, and we wish you and your family memorable times together this holiday season. I'm Vicki Lawson. See you on the next Tennessee Life.
Tennessee Life is sponsored by
Mid-South Sewing is an authorized brother dealer and repairs all brands of machines. Mid-South Sewing, known for their many fabrics, classes, and individual instructions. Classes on sewing and embroidery machines, software, sergers, and quilting. Mid-South Sewing, Knoxville and Murfreesboro.
Tennessee Life is also brought to you by Next to New, an upscale consignment shop serving Knoxville. nexttoknox.com, and by The Flower Pot, for over 100 years, offering flowers and same-day delivery with 2 convenient Knoxville locations, knoxvilleflowerpot.com, and by viewers like you. Thank you. Do you know of any interesting people, places, or events in Tennessee? Have a suggestion, comment, or idea for Tennessee Life? Let us know your story ideas for Tennessee Life.